Okay, welcome to Remnant Revolution with this episode of Faith Freedom Fridays. And I'm here with a special guest, Paul and Marilyn Hooper. Now, Paul's not with us, but Marilyn's here, and they're from Homer, Alaska. That's south of Anchorage. Not sure how far. Quite a bit, isn't it?
About a 4-hour drive.
4-hour drive, okay. And you're going to have an unbelievable experience listening to the story that they go through. Just regular people that got caught up in what the January 6th at the Capitol events happened, and they just got caught up in it. And you really need to hear this story because this could be you. It could be anybody right now. But wanted to introduce you to her, Marilyn. Thanks for coming on the podcast.
Hi, thank you for inviting me. I'm excited to be here.
So tell us a little bit about you guys. I think I know you operate an inn, right?
Yes, yes.
Tell us a little bit about your background, just so people know that you're not some crazy, far left, far right person. You're not. You're just Christian, Holy Spirit filled,
Yeah. And we do live in Homer, Alaska, which shouldn't makes us a little suspect for many things. One of the favorite bumper stickers there is "We're here because we're not all there." So can't vouch completely for being normal. Most people who live in Alaska try to avoid being too normal because otherwise, live in the lower 48. But as far as in this context, I would say we're pretty dull and boring as far as there's one of the reasons we live at the end of the road as far away as you can get from all the goings on in the lower 48 is so that you aren't pulled into all the goings on in the lower 48. So it was a surprise to us and a surprise to the community to have D.C. show up in Homer.
Yeah,
And our background is
4,500 miles from Washington, D.C. is where y'all are located. So
yeah.
I want the audience to understand 4,500 miles away, they're enjoying life after they made a little visit to D.C. on December 6th. But continue.
Yeah. So we moved to Alaska. I moved there sight unseen. My husband had been for a couple week backpacking trip and fell in love with the area of Homer in particularly. And he kept talking about it and he wanted to go for a visit. And finally I said, there's nothing down here that we're that interested in. Let's just pack up and go and see if we love it or not. So I got to Homer and it's just a great mix of hippie, good food, good art, lots of variety of people. You have all spectrums of political views. And I like the diversity. The scenery is spectacular. And it's a place I say, I love the priorities of the people there because nobody cares what you drive, what you wear, how big your house is. And it was just refreshing to be somewhere where people just wanted to know who you are and what you're passionate about in life. So we got there, and like most people who moved to Homer, we had to figure out a way to make a living. And we had always been dragging people home with us that we met and putting them up and letting them eat all of our food for free. So we kind of suspected we might be good at hospitality. And that we thought, what would it be like if we bought a little place and did kind of a bed and breakfast and people actually paid to eat all of our food instead of just freeloading. So that's how it started about 21 years ago. And we're still in the same location. And we must have guessed right because it's still working for us.
Wow. Yeah, I saw some pictures on your Instagram there's a deck overlooking the lake. I don't know if that's your house or not, but that's beautiful. Just to be able to just sitting there thinking that'd be cool just to sit out there and just drink in the scenery and like you say, be away from it all.
Yes, be away from it all. And our motto, our intention is to bring heaven to earth. And that's a deck overlooking Ketchimark Bay in Homer. And it actually has huge tidal variations. So sometimes it looks like a quiet lake. and sometimes it looks like a very big, angry ocean. We have waves will come all the way up over the 15-foot seawall when there's a good storm going on outside. And we have almost a 30-foot tidal variation from high tide to low tide twice a day. So it's a very active place. Sitting on that deck, there's lots to see. So.
Wow, that's cool. So, so how did somebody in just this nice, sleepy, enjoyable area end up in Washington, D.C. on January 6th, and then, as you will explain a little bit later, with several FBI agents with guns at your doorstep? How does that happen? I mean, help people understand that.
Well, right. As far as getting to DC, how we got there is not that unusual for Alaskans anyway, in that whenever you leave Alaska, because it is such a large, long journey, especially coming from Homer, which is still a 4-hour drive to the airport, and then a flight to Seattle, and then a flight to wherever you actually want to go. You tend to want to make it count. And this was January, so it's very winter in Alaska. We were heading down to a friend's wedding in South Dakota, which not exactly what where Alaskans are looking to go in the winter, but good friends. So we went, and then we told ourselves, all right, if we're going to make it out for this wedding, then, we're not going to put all that travel to waste. Let's stay outside as long as we can. And so we had some time in Vegas. We had some time in Phoenix planned, grab some sunshine, grab some play. And then there was, I had been closely following the adjudicators and the people who had attempted to adjudicate for the election count, and had been listening to the eyewitness testimonies for many of the state hearings. And so I had concerns about process and very process oriented. And I was concerned about what was happening to the election process. And then I heard that there had been some kind of a tweet or something went out. I don't have any social media, so I'm not, I don't follow any of that. I'm not tied in with all of those goings on. I have too much to do to sit on social media as far as I'm concerned. So, and I run a spa and I want to have a peaceful life, inner life, and I don't see that social media contributes to that. So I just tend to avoid it. But I did hear that there was some kind of a tweet that had gone out and that people were invited who wanted to ask questions or stand and ask the Congress to take a closer look at this, to hold the states accountable for their electoral processes. And it happened to be the day before we had a ticket to return. So I thought, well, this sounds like maybe a God opportunity. Maybe we're supposed to be going to this, and looked online to see how much would tickets be to get from Phoenix to DC for the day for the rally. And it was like $36 a person. Wow. And just because the tickets were so cheap, we almost would have gone anyway, because you can't fly. We can fly from Homer to Anchorage. It's a 30-minute flight and it costs $150. So you can fly across the country for $36. You just need to do it. So
yeah, definitely.
That's how we got there.
Wow. Yeah. So you guys were at the rally, and I'm going to pull up a screenshot so we can get into showing a little bit. Now, for those that are on the podcast, you won't see this. You can go to the Zoom, to the YouTube channel and check it out. Let's see. And so here we are. So you can see this, right?
I see the map.
Marilyn? Okay. All right. So basically, you guys
see the map
to DC, and this kind of tell us a little bit, I guess, about
are you there?
Just real quickly, this website you've set up, We the People Stand.
Resume
it's kind
share.
of because of all that you've went through,
Okay,
you set
you
this
there?
site up for other people that have had experiences in DC that need to know what's going on. Is that correct?
That is correct. I'm actually hoping it serves a number of functions.
Okay,
one of the things I'm learning as
Technical
I'm
difficulty
becoming
there.
more
All right,
educated
do you see,
about how
what are you looking at? You see
the
map?
law works is that any assertion
I see the map.
or accusation
Right. So
unrebutted
basically,
stands
you
as
guys flew
truth.
out to
And since I had a
DC,
bunch of agents with a lot of
and this kind of
accusations
tell us a little
show
bit, I
up in
guess,
my home with
about
guns and
just real
pitchforks,
quickly this
I
website you've set
believed
up
that
where
it
the
was
people
important for
stand.
me
It's
to
kind of
rebut
because
their
of all that you've went through, you
accusations,
set this
and
site
they
up for
didn't
other
seem
people that have
interested
had
in letting me
experiences
do that
in
with
DC
them.
that need
So I
to know
thought
what's going on.
my
Is that
best
correct?
recourse was to bring it to the public. And I would
That
encourage,
is
so I wanted to
correct.
put it there.
I'm
so,
actually hoping
I was on
it
record
serves a
as
number
to
of
what
functions. One of the things
my
I'm
actions have
learning
been
as
that
I'm
day,
becoming
that I
more
had or
educated
hadn't been
about
involved,
how
and then also to encourage
the
others
law
to
works,
have
is
a
that
voice of sharing
any assertion
what their eyewitness
or
experiences,
accusation
because we're getting a
unrebutted
lot of
stands as truth.
and since I
Blowback
had
on
a bunch of
popular
agents
media
with a lot of
creating,
accusations
in my
show
mind,
up in my
creating
home
a
with
narrative.
guns and
Most of the people
pitchforks,
who are speaking
I
about it
believed
were
that
not
it was important
eyewitnesses
for
to
me
the
to
event.
rebut
And
their
the way they're
accusations.
putting together,
And I guess
they
that's
didn't
one
seem
way I've
interested
explained
in
it is letting me do
we
that
have a number of friends
with
who are
them.
involved
So
in
I thought
the
my
what
best
are they called?
recourse was to bring
Reality
it to the
TV
public.
shows. And
And
so
I would
it's hard to remember
encourage,
what they're
so I
called
wanted
because
to
of how
put
the
it there so
reality is in them.
I was on record.
I've learned
As to
from these
what
friends that
my
they'll
actions
create a
have been
story
that day,
arc
anything
for
that
the
I
show.
had or hadn't
They'll
been
take a
involved. And
lot
then
of
also to
footage,
encourage
and
others
apparently
to
the FBI
have a
has
voice
hundreds of hours
sharing
of footage.
what
That's
their
what they told
eyewitness
me. And now
experiences,
that's
because
coming
we're
out in
getting
the
a lot
media
of
as well. And they're
blowback on
handpicking a
popular
few
media,
slices of that,
creating
to fit,
in
in
my
my
mind,
mind, creating
an
a
arc and
narrative.
a story
And
that they
most
wanted
of
to
the people
create.
who are
But
speaking
if you
about
looked
it
at
are
the
not
footage in
eyewitnesses
totality,
to the
it
event.
wouldn't support that
And
story
the way
at
they're
all.
putting
So
together,
I
guess
believe that
that's one
not
way I've
just
explained it
myself,
is,
but there were
we
hundreds
have a
of
number of
thousands of
friends who are
patriots
involved
there.
in
I believe we need
uh,
to
what are they
rebut
called?
the story.
Reality
We need to
TV
share
shows. And
Okay.
so
our
it's hard to remember what they're
experience,
called
our
because of
eyewitness
how little
experience of
reality
what
is
was
in
going
them.
on.
And
I've
caution
learned from
that
these
if
friends
you
that
had been
they'll
invited
create a
inside of the
story
Capitol or
arc
been inside
for
of
the
the Capitol,
show.
they'll
Don't
take a
share
lot of
because
footage.
that you're in a
Apparently
very
the
vulnerable
FBI has
hundreds of
situation, but
hours of
the
footage.
hundreds of
That's what they told
thousands, the
me. And
majority
now that's
of
coming out in the
people
media as
were
well.
never in the Capitol.
They're
And
handpicking
many
a
were
few
never even
slices
near
of
the
that
Capitol
to fit
and
a
so
narrative,
those
an arc,
people,
and a
I
story
believe,
that they
are
wanted to create.
in a
But if you
safe
looked at
enough
the footage in
position
totality,
to
it wouldn't
get their
support
stories
that
on record
story at
because we
all.
need
So
to
I believe that not just
not let the
myself,
history
but there were
books
hundreds of
reflect
thousands of patriots there.
what's
I
being
believe we
presumed
need to
and accused and
rebut
asserted.
the
And if
story.
we
We
don't
need to
rebut it,
share
it stands as truth.
our
So we need to
experience,
rebut
our
it.
eyewitness
Good
experience
thought.
of what was
And this
going
is
on.
where
I would caution
you
that if you
you
had
guys
been
come into
invited
all this
inside
is
of the
that
Capitol or been inside of the
go
Capitol,
through. We'll
don't
walk through
share
this, but
because
you
you're
actually
in a
never
very
made
vulnerable
it into the
situation.
Capitol.
But
You were on the
the
grounds,
hundreds
but you
of
were never in the
thousands, the
Capitol. And as
majority
you'll talk in
of
just a
people
minute,
were never
things
in the Capitol, and
things
many were
went
never even
really
near the
way
Capitol.
off the charts
So
several months
those
later.
people,
So
I
take
believe,
us through your
are
day there,
in a safe
and we'll kind
enough
of walk through this.
position to get their
So
stories
you
on
got there
record
at what,
because
8
we need
o'clock?
to.
Sure. So we
to
had an uneventful
not let the
flight
history
in.
books reflect
Yeah, we had an
what's
uneventful
being
flight in the night
presumed and
before.
accused and asserted.
Stayed
And if we
outside
don't
of
rebut
DC
it,
where we
stands
could
as true.
actually enjoy
So
a
we
meal.
need to
They had
rebut it.
DC very locked down.
and this is
And then
where
grabbed an Uber in the
you
morning, probably 7
you
a.m.
guys
to get
come
in
into
line
all
with the other
this is
hundreds of
that
thousands of people.
go through. We'll
And
walk through this, but
we
you
don't usually
actually
do
never
lines, but
made it
since
into the Capitol. You
since
were
it
on the
was just a
grounds,
day of
but you were
standing
never in
around
the Capitol.
anyway, we
And as
thought,
you'll
well, we'll
talk
get
in
in the
just a
line to
minute,
go into the
things
lifts because if we're going to be here all the way
things
from
went
Alaska, we might as well be up close,
way
not
off the
just looking at
charts
it from
several
Jumbotron,
months later. So
a mile
take us through
back.
your day there,
So we went ahead and
and we'll
got in
kind
the
of
long
walk through
line
this.
to see if we could be
So you
some
got
of the
there,
people
what, 8
in the
o'clock?
lifts up
Sure.
close
So we
to
had
the
an
platform
uneventful flight
and get
in.
to have eyes
Yeah, we had an
on,
uneventful
close
flight
enough
in the
to
night
see for
before.
ourselves the people
Stayed
speaking.
outside of
And that was a
DC where
a
we
couple
could
hour
actually
journey
enjoy a
to get
meal.
into
They
the
had
lifts,
DC
and
very
then
locked down.
once in
And then
there,
grabbed an
you
Uber
just
in
hang
the
out,
morning,
you do all the
probably
things you
7
do
a.m.
when
Get in line with
you're
the
at a
other
rally.
hundreds of
This is my
thousands of
first
people.
one, but it
And
seemed very
we don't
typical.
usually
You
do
cheer,
lines, but
you
since
thing.
Since it was just a day of standing
chance
around
you,
anyway, we thought,
know,
well, we'll get in the
visit
line
with the
to
other
go
people
into
around
your
you.
lifts,
So it's,
'cause
you know,
if you're
6
gonna
hours of
be
standing
here all the way
around.
from Alaska, you might as well
Basically,
be up
in the
close and not
cold.
just looking
It
at it
rained a
from
little bit. It was
Jumbotron,
about, it was
you know,
almost
a mile back. It was right,
So we
right
went
around
ahead and got
freezing.
in the long line.
And then
to see if
when
we, could be some of the
they
people
announced
in the
Trump
ellipse
about
up
11
close to the
a.m. and according
platform
to the schedule
and
we
get
had
to
seen,
have
there were supposed to be
eyes on
already
close
from
enough to see for
9
ourselves the
a.m.
people
till
speaking. And that was
noonish,
a
and
couple
then
hour
everyone was supposed
journey
to walk
to
to
get
the
into the
Capitol,
ellipse and
and
out front
then
of the Capitol.
once in there,
Be there
you just
for the
hang
1
out,
o'clock
you
when
do
they
all the
went
things
into
you do,
session.
and
Just
you're
be
at
a
a rally. This
presence
is my
outside
first
saying,
one.
"Hi, we're
But it
here."
seemed very
We have
typical.
eyes
You
on,
cheer,
do the right thing.
sing,
And
chant,
the speaker started at 9 a.m.
visit with
and
the
then
other
at 11
people
a.m. they
around
announced
you.
Trump.
So, and
6
then an
hours
hour
later
standing
he came
around
out to speak.
basically
So
in the cold.
So
It
that
rained
was
a little bit.
odd.
It was about
He's never
and
on
I
time, is
mentioned
he?
that to people
it
around.
was right around
Well, that's
freezing.
what I've never
And
been
then
to anything,
when
so I
the,
mentioned that, and they said, "Oh, he's always
they
late."
announced
So I
Trump
was
about
like,
11
okay.
a.m.
And I'm thinking
according
in
to
my
the
head,
schedule we
but
had
aren't
seen,
we
there was supposed
supposed
to
to
be
walk to the
already
Capitol by 1
from
o'clock because it's
9
at least a
a.m.
45-minute
till
walk because it's a
noonish,
long ways
and then
away,
everyone was
and
supposed
there's
to walk
hundreds
to the
of thousands
Capitol and
maybe
stand
stand
out
out
in
front of the
people.
Capitol, but whatever.
Be there for
And
the
I'm
So
showing
he
on the
came
map
out and
here.
he spoke in session.
I'm showing
Just
on the
be a
map here,
presence
the
outside
elliptical
saying, "Hi,
grounds
we're here.
south is over
Or
here.
we have eyes on. Do the right
And then
thing."
you walked,
And
you say it took you an
the
hour and
speaker started
38
at 9
minutes?
a.m. and
Well,
then
that
at
was your
11 a.m. they
timeline,
announced
so we'll go
Trump.
back to...
And
it
then an
takes
hour later
longer
he
if
came
you
out
go
to
the
speak.
wrong
So
opposite
at
way
noon,
first.
so that was
So,
odd.
He's never on
And I
time, is
mentioned
he?
that to
Like
people
over here
around.
to the White
So
House.
that was
turn
part
back
of
around.
our
that's
challenge.
what I've never been to
Being
anything
so I
directionally
mentioned that and they said,
challenged.
"Oh, he's always late." So I was
And
like,
so
okay.
when Trump
And I'm thinking in
showed
my
up
head,
at
but
noon to
aren't we
start speaking,
supposed
I
to
thought, well,
walk
maybe he's
to the
just going to keep
Capitol
it
by 1
short
o'clock
so
because
we can all
it's at
walk
least a
down there.
45-minute
But
walk.
he didn't
Because
keep
it's a
it
long
short.
ways
He went
away,
over an
and
hour.
there's hundreds of
So he
thousands,
didn't
maybe a
finish till
million
after
people.
1 o'clock.
But whatever.
And
And I'm
So
showing
he
on the
came
map
out and
here.
spoke complaining like,
I'm showing
"Hey,
on the map here,
weren't we supposed
the
to walk to the
elliptical grounds
Capitol?" So,
south is over
but
here.
it's not our show. So
And then you
then
walked,
finally he finished at
you say it took you
about
an hour and
1:10,
38
1:15,
minutes?
and there's
Well, that was your
cheering and
timeline,
music,
so we'll go
and
back
then we're
to...
all supposed it to walk takes down longer to if the you go the Capitol,
wrong
and by this
opposite
point,
way first.
half the people were around and going like, "What's the point? Whatever they're going to do, they've already
Like over
done."
here
And
to the
so
White House,
that was
turn
part
back
of our
around.
challenge. Half people we were around like, "Yeah, we're just going directionally going home." So half people
And so
left
when Trump
the
showed up at noon to start
mall.
speaking, I thought,
That
well, maybe
we
he's
had
just going to keep
been
it
near.
short
Now
so we
you
can
say,
all walk down there.
on one spot here, you say
But he
hurting
didn't
and
keep it
praying
short.
with
He went over
intensity
an
and
hour.
resolve. So there's a
So
lot
he
of
didn't finish
prayer
till
going
after
on
1
with
o'clock.
different groups and
There
things like that.
and a lot of people were kind of
What's that?
prayer going on,
Like,
and
hey,
we had an
aren't
hour
we supposed to walk to
between
the Capitol? So,
when they announced
but,
Trump.
it's
coming
not our
out when he
show.
actually did
So
come
then
out. So
finally
there was a
finished
lot of
at,
opportunity.
about
Time
1:10,
just to be in
1:15,
prayer.
and
So there was
there's
a lot of
cheering and
prayer
music,
going on, and
and then
people
we're all
just
supposed to walk
it really
down
had
to
a
the
sense of
Capitol.
holy ground.
And by
But
this
people were
point,
just
the
people were
grieving
around and going like, "What's the
concerned
point?
that,
Whatever they're
there
going to
were
do, they've already done. and
severe
we're still
problems
here."
with the electoral
so half the people we
process,
were around were like,
and
"Yeah, we're
that
just going
the
to lunch and going home."
legislature,
So half the people
there was fear the
left
legislature wouldn't be willing to address or look at it.
mall.
Just a lot of
But we had
intercession and prayer and hoping
Now you say
for
on
the
one spot here,
nation.
you say hurting and
a
praying
bunch
with
of
intensity
terrorists
and resolve. So there's a lot of
anarchists
prayer going on,
and
things like
with
that.
different
groups and
There-
people like that. Milling
Yeah.
around down.
A lot
What's
of
that?
prayer going on, and we had
Well,
an
there were
hour
definitely a
between,
number of people
when
yeah,
they
there were
announced
definitely a number
Trump
of people
coming out when he
decorated.
actually did come out. So
A lot
there
of
was a lot of
decoration,
opportunity and time just to be in prayer.
a
So
lot
there was
of
a lot of prayer
a lot
going
of
on, and people just
all different
it really
kinds of
had a
people.
sense
We
of
weren't
holy
sure
ground that people were
if
just
we would feel
grieving
safe
and
because you hear the
concerned that
reports from
there
other
were rallies
severe
about
problems with the
altercations
electoral
between Antifa and
process,
et cetera.
and
So
that the
our concern wasn't
legislature,
the other people there wanted
there
to
was
address
a rally,
the
but whether
legislature
there
would
would be
be
to address
instigators.
or look at it.
So
Who would
just a
come
lot
and
of
create
intercession and
problems
prayer and
or
altercations.
for,
So,
the nation.
but my husband
So it
Paul
wasn't a
is
bunch of
6'7", so
terrorists
he's
and
usually not one picked out of the crowd
anarchists and things
to
like
come
that.
after. So if I stay close to him, I
Milling
feel
around
pretty
down.
good.
Yeah, he looks pretty tall in
And
this
when we were
picture.
there,
Well, there were
never
definitely
any
a number of
sense
people.
any threat.
Yeah, there are definitely a
He
number
is
of people
tall.
decorated.
And when we were there,
A lot of
everybody just seemed
decoration.
so kind. But it's probably
a lot of
500,000 at least.
a lot
could be a
all
million
different
because you
kinds
visit
of
people.
people.
We weren't
when
sure
there's just people everywhere.
if we would feel safe.
So you
you
because
have,
hear the reports
I mean,
from
if you
other
like people watching, it's
rallies
definitely a good
about
place to do
altercations
people watching
because you're
and
going to have
Antifa and
some
et
of
cetera. So
just about
our
everything.
concern wasn't the other people there who were there to rally, but whether there be they want instigators or they who would come and talk about their problems or altercations, their grandma's scarves. My husband Paul is whatever, 6'7", so he's usually not one picked out of a crowd to come after. So if I stay close to him, I feel pretty good.
11:30.
Yeah, he looks pretty tall.
And when we were there, there was never any sense of any threat.
You run across.
He is tall.
Epoch Times.
And when we were there,
Joshua
everybody
Phillips.
just seemed so kind.
But that was a treat.
So that was,
it's
probably half a million in the 30s. So
could be a million.
When the event finally ended, and half the people that we could hear
And,
like, well,
so
forget
you
it,
have-
we're just going home.
I mean, if you like people
we might as
watching,
well
it's
just
definitely a good place to
walk to the Capitol, but nobody's in a hurry because it's just already past the time. People who were there for completely
we
unrelated
thought,
reasons.
well,
they want to sell peanuts. We worked our way to the front of the lips, so we're now at the very scarves or whatever women and children and strollers and grandmas. So there's nothing fast about this group.
11:30, you're still at the
thought,
stage.
we're just going to hang out and grab a seat because we've been standing for hours.
You
And
run
now there's
across
seats that we can sit in. And
Epoch Times, Joshua Phillips.
And visit with
that was a treat.
So that was at one. That was at 1:30 there. When the event finally ended, and half the people they were hanging out, so we were like, well, forget it, we're just going home. And the other ones, well, we might as well just he was very gracious, but nobody's in a hurry because it's already and that was fun. And then we thought, well, we might as well walk to the Capitol because we thought, well, to head to the plane. We worked our way to we're kind of bored lips, and then we went to go look for my husband's backpack. Women they make children go into strollers and grandmas. You can't take there's nothing fast about this group almost anything with you. So we thought because you are close enough to the speakers that they're standing for hours. And now there's there's huge piles and mountains of backpacks everywhere.
Wow.
And there was no around. They said they were just going to haul them away or let them sit there. And we loved that we were forsaking our property. So they were hanging out. So we cornered him and embarrassed him and made him take a selfie with us. So he was very gracious. I mentioned to my husband Paul, "Hey, let's go get your backpack." And then we thought, well, we might as well walk to the Capitol. And I thought, well, yeah, we are in D.C. We're not in Homer anymore. And we're kind of I was like, let's just go. And then let's just go check it out. And then we went to go look for my husband. And we went, and there was they make you nothing go into the lift, and everything you can't take in it, and there was even almost people hanging around if somebody you are close enough to rummaging through a page you could go like, hey, so there's huge piles mountains through backpacks either everywhere. You know it's yours or it's not. And there was no promise. They said they were just going to haul them away. So it was that respectful of an attitude that people were watching out after each other's stuff. Basically, they said there's no. Yeah, I was really impressed. We're not safeguarding the property.
So then you went.
I mentioned to my husband Paul, hey, let's go get your backpack. He's like, it's not going to be there. It's going to be totally gone. And I was like, well, yeah, we are in D.C. So after we found the backpack, we started heading out, and then we're trying to check it out and see. Our phones, there's no cell service, and there was nothing disturbed. We're not familiar with the mall. Was still in it, and so we weren't sure which direction the people hanging around if somebody started. And so we're trying to go like, well, where does it look like the page to go like, hey, people are headed, so we just started following backpacks, people, and apparently we followed people that are going to the Capitol stuff. So it was the White House, not the Capitol. The people were watching. So we got turned back by the White House. And it felt, I was really impressed. Who said, no, you can't come into the White House. And we said, like, oh, we're trying to get to the Capitol. So they said, turn around and go back the other way. So that's what we did, and then we stopped and had hot dogs and looked at so after we found the backpack, we started heading out, and then we didn't know if there was any reason to go to the phones. There's no cell service. Suddenly we started hearing sirens, and tons we're not familiar with the mall. Cars with lights, so we weren't sure which direction the Capitol. I don't know, 30, 40. And so we're trying to go like, well, where does it look like? Endless row of people, direction sirens. People are headed, so we just started following people, and apparently we followed dangerous, people like going, we shouldn't go that way now, or to the White House, not to the Capitol. So we got turned back by the White House in front of the Capitol between police who said, no, you can't come into the White House. And we said, like, oh, we're trying to get to the Capitol. So we started asking people turn around and go away from the Capitol area. So that's what we did, and then we stopped and had hot dogs. They said T-shirts that no, that the Capitol had actually. We didn't know if there was any reason to go to the Capitol, but then suddenly we started hearing sirens and tons of and that there was cars with lights that somebody had been shot. Like, and I don't know. We're like, oh my gosh, that's They
so
just
strange.
like,
First of all,
just an
how would
endless
people
row
get
of
in the
cars going by and
Capitol?
sirens.
And
so we thought,
then
well,
we got
that's
curious.
interesting.
We thought, well, let's just
But
walk
that
that
sounds
way.
dangerous.
As long as it
Like,
feels
we
safe,
shouldn't go that way
because
now.
who doesn't? We're
Because
here.
there's some
This is
kind of
obviously
big
going to
brawl
be a
happening,
story. We should at
you
least
know, on the
be
lawn in front of the Capitol
eyewitnesses
between
somewhat to what's
instigators
going on. That
and people
seems
who are there at the
responsible,
rally
as
is
long
what
as,
we
you know,
presumed.
Most
We're
people are
not
going to be
getting,
curious.
so we started asking people who were walking
I mean,
away.
how many people
yeah,
don't
you
hear-
know, good car
area.
accident.
And
Exactly.
they said
We go out the
that
door, listen
no,
for the
that,
ambulance. We're going to go
that the
chase
Capitol
it. So,
had actually been
yeah.
breached, and there were people
all right. So
coming
about
and going
3:20, you actually
inside,
made it
and
to
that
near the grounds.
um,
Capitol grounds shows here.
and that there was even rumors that
And
somebody had
so
been
we're looking at
shot.
3:20,
And
3:30.
We're like, oh my gosh,
that y'all
that's
are just getting
so
there.
strange. First of all,
And
how would
it's
people get in the
correct.
Capitol?
Almost over by this
And
point.
then we got curious.
So-
We thought, well, let's just
Yeah,
walk that way.
right.
as
That's
long
what
as it
we
feels
assumed.
safe. Because who doesn't? We're
But
here.
we were
This is
surprised
obviously
how
going
many
to be a
people
story.
had
We
left
should at
the
least be
mall
eyewitnesses
after the rally. We were
somewhat
shocked
to
how many
what's
people were
going on.
still
That
there.
seems
So
responsible
there
as
had
long
to
as,
have been a million people there.
Most
We're
people are
not
going to be
getting
curious.
at the beginning because there still looked like there was
I mean, how
happening
many people don't
you
hear-
know, good
on
car
the lawn
accident.
and the extended
Exactly.
grounds. They just
We
were
go out the
everywhere.
door,
It
listen
was
for
like
the
a big
ambulance.
animal
We're going
house
to go
party. There
chase
was
it.
people
So,
hanging.
yeah.
Right.
All right. So about 3:20, you
It kinda looks like
actually
that. Everybody's
made it
hanging over
to
everything.
near the grounds.
Okay, so
Capitol
you were-
grounds shows
Okay,
here.
excellent.
So hopefully we're in
And
a
so we're
little
looking
bit
at
of
3:20,
a
3:30
technology
that y'all are
uh,
just getting there.
signal.
And
Yeah,
the
the
sounds,
area.
the
Correct.
sounds
Hopefully
almost
it's too
over
close
by
to
this
the
point,
bed.
isn't it? That's the fun thing about Zoom. You get this
Okay.
artificial sounding sometimes.
Yeah, right. That's what we assumed.
All right. So let's.
But we were surprised
did
at how
make
many
it to the
people had
Capitol
left
grounds about
the
3:30.
mall after the rally. We were shocked how many people were
and
still
talked
there.
to
So
people
there,
because,
there
again,
had
there's
to
still
be a million
no
people there
internet. There's no
at
cell
the
service.
beginning because there still
Nobody
looked like there was
getting
500,000
information
on the
what's going
lawn
on
and the
through
extended
any
grounds. They
phone
just
access.
were everywhere.
So we're really,
It was
the
like a big
people
animal
there
house
are really
party. There were
counting
people hanging.
on somebody who is there, some
Yeah, it kind of looks like that.
official
Everybody's hanging
presence
over everything.
communicating with them, because otherwise there's no information. And there was no Capitol Police or other officials